Everybody, Bill Caskey here, live, a little bit late, not quite live at 8. We're live at 8:05 today, but I had a situation that came up. So I'm glad you're here today. As you know, we go live every day at 8-ish in the month of March, helping you to finish out the quarter strong, helping you to get ready for next quarter, which is right around the corner. I love the second quarter because it has nothing to do with financial. It means it's springtime. So a couple of you have asked about my daughter, Kara, who's pregnant and due in May, and I appreciate all the interest. And I know I mentioned it on the podcast a couple of times. She's doing great. Some days better than others. A little sick, but everything's fine. Going to have a little girl, and so I'm pumped about that. Let's see. Today we are going to talk about the thing that we were going to talk about yesterday, but we didn't. And that is, what's the future of the sales professional? And, as I said yesterday, I'm all for getting the word sales out of our vocabulary and vernacular, because think about your day. Think about how many hours, what percent of your day is spent in face-to-face interaction, questioning, understanding the dilemma of your prospect, putting together presentations. I mean, it just seems like it used to be that was all we did. But over the last, 20 years, a lot of things have come into our daily task list, our domain, and we're not spending as much time doing that. Now you might say, well, we got to get out. We got to get out and see people and take people to lunch and the whole United Airlines deal. We got to go see people. Here's tickets. Okay, but that's just not the way the world works today. So you can bury your head in the sand and say, well, I only do face-to-face meetings. I don't do any of that digital stuff. Or you can say, well, how can I use other tools that are available to me to improve my hit rate, to improve my lead generation and things like that. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, because I think if we continue to look at sales in the same way, unless your fiscal ends April 1st. Yeah, that's right. You can comment, by the way. I can't promise I'll answer each of you, but Faye had it. Funny. Yeah, it's funny. So I prefer to look at sales today. When I go into work with a company, and I do a fair amount of corporate work. I've got probably 6 or 7 clients that invite me in. I work with their team for a period of time. I've also got some public work where a person would come to me and I will put them into a program once called the High Achiever Mentoring Group. It's a mentoring, not a coaching group, but a mentoring group for high achieving sales professionals. And you can find out more about that at Bill Caskey. But I'm always looking at, well, what does achievement look like in your business? Not sales, but achievement. Sales is something you do to generate an outcome, money, wealth, fame, maybe not fame, but it could be. And I think we're too narrowly defining the concept of sales. Like, here's an example in my business. Sales in the traditional sense of the word is when someone calls me, they book a call, and I jump on a call with them, and I ask them questions. I try to understand whether they have the kinds of problems that I can remedy or I can bring some solutions to in my programming. And then I explain to them how it works. And then we arrive at a decision, a conclusion, does it make sense or not? I'm not a guy that handles objections. I don't do this whole, the whole handling resistance and calling people back. I just don't believe in that. And you know what I found is when you respect people and their ability to make a decision, they typically make the right decision for them, whether it's to work with me or not. But when I think about how little time I spend doing that and how much time I spend doing this, creating content, creating coursework, creating funnels, marketing funnels for how we're going to generate more leads, and understanding Facebook a little bit, looking at the LinkedIn algorithm. There's lots of things that I do that have very little to do with face-to-face contact. And I would urge you that if you're in a business where you are responsible for a number, typically that's the way it works. You have a number of the quarter, of the year. I like annual numbers. then you've got to figure out not just how do I sell more effectively, but how do I achieve more effectively? And some of that is going to have nothing to do with face-to-face contact and how you ask questions and answer questions. It's going to have to do with how you plan, how you extract from yourself what you want in the world. How do you answer the question, what do you want personally? And how do you become super clear about that? And then how do you reverse engineer the process and the plan to get that, what you want? It requires a fair amount of skill work. What do I need to be more skilled at? Do I need to be more skilled at telling my story? Do I need to be more skilled at asking questions and digging up what's really happening for them? Do I need to be more skilled at process management? We just did a webinar here a couple of weeks ago, and I did if you're on my email newsletter list, you got this, well, you'll get it today, is a recap of it. I just did a 10-minute overview for people who weren't on. We had 100 people register, about 50 people showed up, but I've got a much bigger list than that, so I created a piece of content. Is that sales? Not in the traditional sense. Creating the video is not sales in the traditional sense, but is it sales for me? Of course it is. And so we've got to expand what sales is. If you're spending time shooting a video that will end up being seen by hundreds of people in your network, why does that just keep doing that? I'm sorry about that. It keeps. If you're creating a video that's seen by thousands of people in your network, then that's sales, because it's marketing, because it's you getting your word, getting your name, getting your content out there. And I think we've got to be much more focused on that. The other part of this is you might not be in sales specifically, like have a territory, but you might be a consultant, an attorney, a CPA, somebody who does work. I would even consider myself in that realm, because most of my day is spent training and coaching sales teams. It's not spent hammering the phone for business. I allow my digital stuff to do that. But if you're in a business where you're not only the business development expert, but also the technician, you're doing the work as well as selling the work, you have to find a way to get out of that face-to-face sales. You have to find a way to let digital work for you, to let a marketing funnel work for you. Because if you don't, you become overwhelmed. And when you become overwhelmed and you grind away and you think, oh God, every hour I'm spending with a client is an hour I'm not spending generating new discussions and new discoveries and new people, you're going to drive yourself nuts. And your income will suffer. Your family life will probably suffer. Your spiritual life will probably suffer. And you won't be half the person you could be, because your mind's always going to be in two different places. So I urge you, technical people and people who are, the deliverers, we'll call them, to really get serious about what is sales today. And it's not networking events, although I'm not saying don't do that, but it's more than that. It's how do I take my expertise, put it on display, allow people in my niche and target clients to experience me. I mean, that's what we're doing here. I'm giving certain people, a few people, a chance to just partake of what I believe. A couple of comments, the old adage, everyone is in sales no matter what job you have. Yeah. I mean, we're all serving people. Mark says we used to call it selling through service. I think we do. And as long as we truly are selling through service, and it's not just a throwaway line we give it, well, let's go out and tell them we're selling through service. Because I've witnessed that too. I'm not saying Mark did, but I've seen that. So I want you to think today about what does sales mean to you? It should mean achievement. And what does achievement mean to you? And how do you reverse engineer that so that you get what you want at the end of the year, at the end of the decade, whatever plan format you have, and your customer gets the best from you too. A couple things we have. If you're not on our email newsletter list, go to billcaskey.com. I think if you scroll down at the bottom, you can jump on our list. And every week I send a video out. Not this one. I sent another video out that is something that we hatch up here in our little laboratory. all the smoke and all the beakers. Is it beakers? Beacons? Beakers? Yeah, not much of a science guy, you can tell. And we hatch up some things. And let's see. Yeah, we got some good comments here. So I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what the topic is, whatever strikes me, but it'll be about you. It's designed to help you build your business, build your skills, build your practice. And I will see you tomorrow. And be thinking about that today. Just what are all the tasks I do that aren't traditional sales, and what can I be doing that leads to my personal achievement? I think that'll help you.